All right, welcome back. We got the head down on it. We're about 3/4 of an inch proud, but you noticed I still got a lot of pole there. I would like to set that head down another 5/8 of an inch, but it's looking pretty good. I've had a couple issues I've had to deal with. One being the finished pole. It's been very difficult to get this head seated down, but we're working with it. It's a beautiful handle. Not taking anything away from the craftsmanship of the handle by no means. I'm just not used to working with a finished butt end, but we'll work through it. I'll pick up some boiled linseed oil. Once I get it sanded, I'll reapply it. We'll get her down where we want her. We'll cut the kerf. We'll build us a nice set of wedges, do a cross wedge on it, and I'll bring you back. I think it's going to turn out pretty good. I think it's going to work out. We all have our little tricks. Yeah, it's left me a pretty good road map. I'm almost down. I just want to come down about a 1/2 inch more. I think it would be proportional to the camel's hump, what I call it, the camel's hump. But yeah, as you can see, it's got a nice straight eye. I got lucky on this head. The eye was straight to the head, so everything went straight on. It's gonna be all right. Let me bring you back. All right, there it is. She's down. She's got a good, nice, clean, tight eye. She's ready to cut the kerf. I'll probably come up in here and trim about half of that off before I cut this kerf down in here, about 3/4 of the way. That way I can get plenty of wedge down in it. Yep, she's on there. I'll bring you back. All right, just to show you how I cut these kerfs. I'm gonna let you watch a couple minutes of it. That way you're like, well, you know, he always cuts away when he's trying to cut something. Well, right here. Right here's how I do it, right here. Take this little handsaw, work my way down till I get to the desired depth. Them saws work pretty good. You can pick them up about anywhere. Harbor Freight, any woodworking shop. And there you go. That's how I do that. I'll bring you back. Now that the main kerf is cut, let me focus you in here a little bit, get you dialed in here. One more time, there we go. Now the main kerf is cut all the way down to my bottom line. People say, well, you could go on down further, but there's really no point. That thing's still a 1/2 inch proud when it's setting down. And when I clean all that off the bottom there, my curlings, it'll set down just a tad more, but that's 3/4 of the way. That's plenty of wedge. Now, I'm going to come in here and cut my cross wedges. I'll come straight on this line, and this front line angles back to it. I'll do that on both sides, nice and clean all the way down. Not all the way down, but just halfway. These don't need to go all the way to the bottom. You want to leave that integrity in here. Makes it strong. So, will get splay this way and that way. So I'll bring you back. And we'll keep rocking. And that's what it looks like. That's exactly what it looks like. Just like that. All the way to the other side. Okay. So, let's get some wedges ready to go. Get them curls cleaned up. We'll drive some wedges in it, and I'll bring you back. Okay, something I've learned, and I'm gonna get you in here close so you can see this. See all that glue I poured down in the top of that axe head? Okay. I'm gonna put glue on the wedge too. However, I've found that filling up, I've been missing you. It's not good. You're supposed to stay up in the vise. I've been finding tools that I've been missing. That could have been dangerous. Be careful, John. Anyway, I'm going to put glue on the wedge also. However, I see a lot of guys just putting glue on the wedge. Well, what that's doing is when you drive that wedge down in there, you are essentially scraping all the glue off of that wedge by the time it gets down into here. There's no glue down here. It's all up here because you scraped it all off. So what I started doing is just filling it up here with glue. And by the time this wedge with glue on it gets down in there, I'm shoving all this glue into the bottom of the cut. And the upper glue will still be there, okay? So it makes perfect sense. Yes, you use a little bit more glue, but that's okay. We don't mind it. Glue's not that expensive. So I'll bring you back when we set it. I'm trying to keep these videos short as I can. I'll tell you what I decided to do. I decided to bring you back, and I'll tell you why. Because I want you to see how I set these wedges in these crosses. I know y'all can see that pretty good right there. Now this is just to get this started, okay? This doesn't necessarily mean I sink it home like it is up in this vise. Of course, that's not going to happen. So let's put some glue on this wedge. Now, if I was just doing a standard wedge, I would get it to fit really good like I wanted it. Put glue in the curve, glue the wedge, and then drive it all up. But since this is involving more than one wedge, you kind of have to, you know, get everything started and lined up. And make sure that you don't drop your wedge on the floor and get dirt all over it. So you got to wipe it off and restart over. You don't want to do that. Ha. So we'll get some glue back on the wedge. I'll tell you what, I need to get it together. There we go. Smear that glue around. Don't drop your wedges in the dirt. You're just going to have to clean them off and re-glue them, because you don't want to drive all that dirt down in there. This ain't going to be no good. Now that I got glue on this, and I'll go ahead and I'll set it down in here, okay? This old Tazzy don't want to set in this vise at all. Let me get the glue off my finger. And now we're not in a dead rush. I mean, this glue isn't just going to set up in 2 minutes. But on the other hand, you don't want it to get, you know, you want it to stay put, let's tap this thing in here. We'll get it started. About like so. We'll take our two little side wedges, which are right here. We'll get some glue on them. There's plenty of glue here. We don't mind using the glue. Get some glue on these wedges. Oh yeah. Set one in here like this. Okay. Some glue on the second one. Okay. And we'll set the second one in here like this. I'll make sure my angles is right. Okay. Set it down in there like that. Now what we'll do is we'll take a small ball peen hammer. Don't worry about that glue. That glue ain't going nowhere. Now that we've got the main wedge started, we'll move it a little bit. And we'll take and we'll set this one down in there a little bit. And we'll set that one down in there a little bit. Okay. Get them all started down in there. Tap them a little bit as you go. Keep them even. Okay. Let's wipe a little of that excess glue off. No sense in letting it run everywhere. But you can see that wedge is down in there. Started pretty good. But I just wanted y'all to see this so you knew exactly how I went about setting them wedges in there. Okay? Not a problemo, eh? So now what we're going to do is we're going to take a square face hammer where I don't chip off these sides, and we'll drive them side wedges down in there and set this main wedge. And when I do, I'll bring you back. But I just wanted y'all to see that. I know it took a few extra minutes, but that's okay.